Alright, first thing I want to have you guys do is put your cell phones away, please. We're not going to take them away, but this is not a time to be on your phone socializing. We're here for a reason, and this stuff is kind of slightly really important, so it would be great to not be looking at your phone, but to be paying attention up here. So first thing we're going to talk about today is like what is KEsem in general. For people who haven't been to camp before, all these things, KEsem 101. So here's all the things we're going to cover in this next 45 minutes. Pretty cool. So we'll start out with what is Camp KEsem. So if you guys have heard a million times by now, it's a nationwide community driven by passionate college student leaders that supports children through and beyond their parents' cancer. So this year, if you guys have noticed, we've really emphasized beyond just camp, but outside of that as well. So our mission is to support children through and beyond their parents' cancer with innovative, fun-filled programs that foster a long-lasting community. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand everyone an index card right now. I want you guys to write your name on the corner and then write why you KEsem on this card. And then I will collect them. I don't know how many that is. They're all stuck together.
I got you. I have a bunch of short things.
Do you care what color? Smiling. Do you care what color? Oh, look. Well,
I totally forget that.
kind of quiet, which is nice, but also not normal.
Hey Alexa, play Obama.
When you guys are done, you can just pass them in the middle. I'm going to collect them back in a minute. Like that's what makes you look bad.
Yeah, I got it. I'm really.
It's all look too much in, you know?
Did you
I mean, these are probably 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah, 25.
All right, anyone still writing? If you are, totally fine. Try and pass them in the middle. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
All my own people to sending me videos.
I know. My hours. I don't have time for that.
Woo! Okay, so just a little background. Camp KEsem National So as a national organization, started in Stanford University in 2000. Now we are in 2019. We have there were 117 chapters, and they just added 6 more in like the past month, which is awesome. 2 of them are in Ohio, so the Midwest is like super expanding. But we're serving 10 times the number of kids we were 10 years ago. I think one of the coolest parts about KEsem is we are the only national organization serving this population of children. And we talk about a lot how underrated or like overlooked this group of kids is, which is why they are so special to us. So last year we served over 8,600 children, and this summer we will serve over 10,000 kids. Woo! So at Ball State, we were started in 2015 by Snick and Sham, two of our favorite people. So you can see our first year of camp, we had 19 campers. Here we are a mere 3 years later, and we already have 65 campers signed up, which is amazing. So get excited for that. So one of the really important things for us to know, some of us are all too familiar with it, but it's really important for us to be educated on what is cancer for what these kids are going through. So cancer is just like a general name. It's over 100. There's over 100 different types. But basically it is in abnormal massive cells that grow out of control. So what happens is like in a normal, I just learned this last week, but normal cell cycle, cells like go through a process and then they die. Cancer cells, when they go through, they don't die at the end, so they just massively reproduce. So I always pronounce this wrong. I always say metastasis, but that's when cancer spreads to another part of the body. So like if one has breast cancer and it spreads to the lungs, one has lymphoma and it spreads to other parts as well. A lot of cancers are discovered with a tumor. So a tumor is just a solid mass of tissue. However, there are 2 different types of tumors. There are benign tumors, which are non-cancerous, and then there are malignant ones, and those have cancerous cells in them. So we're gonna get together real quick. We're gonna divide into 4 groups. So the first 2 rows, the back 2 rows. Oh, and then we'll just have you guys be a group of 3, and then the front 2 rows up here. And we're gonna go into a little group, and we're gonna talk about myths or things the children might know about the cancer that their parents have. So we'll have this group talk about like the 6 to 9-year-olds, the younger ones, how they might think of it or view it. You guys will be 10 to 12. You guys will be 13 to 16, and you guys will be our 17 and 18-year-olds. So discuss different things children might know at that age.
Yeah, they know too much.
I feel like at that point, I feel like they understand that you're handling it, so like how to build and they like, I don't know, they will that curve, so they like, you never know, like, but they know, like, just
Well, then another thing that we see at this age is they're all pretty much a lot of the younger ones, the journey kind of started. The older guys, the older people in general, there's a higher chance of someone. So it's a different way to approach it. And it's also the time that they're trying to 17 to 18, they're figuring themselves out to some extent, but they're still, and they're transitioning to high school.
Turning the 6-year-old and 9-year-old is so different that just like the verbiage of like words may be harder for a 6-year-old to understand than a 9-year-old since such a wide range.
Maybe Western, I don't know.
like the children that are older, sometimes they're more like able to like help mom or dad, and like at that little age, sometimes they may not be seeing all of that, or maybe they're like under the effects where like maybe Anna was taking care of them because mom's sick or something, but they're not like there to see everything. Those are the parents because some of them are open to one after to get their kid away to not see, and then some of those kids are not like see it all. Joe.
Okay, maybe my circus is
Yeah, absolutely.
Not my monkey.
Absolutely, your search engine. Yeah, that kind of stuff. No, I know that. I'm just really close.
It was funny though, because at the party afterwards, we got a bunch of people trying to play Disney bags. Sean Dunlop did it, James did it. It was great. It was
It's literally on the couch. I brought a different bag today. It's been sitting there since 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I got two and like one was like $30-something.
Right. We finishing up here in the outside conversation, which is cool. Alright, so we're gonna have each different group share like how kids might view their parents' cancer at that stage in their life. So we'll start with 17 and 18-year-olds, how they might.
We talked a little bit about how this is sort of the group of kiddos who are going to be a little bit more educated and informed about what's going on. Probably have gone to some appointments with their loved one, and they're at this stage where they might have lost a loved one. Whereas like our younger kiddos, like the journey kind of just started for them. Do you want to elaborate?
Yeah, we also kind of noted that it's common for these age to also have younger siblings. So they've started taking that leadership role with their siblings, and maybe teaching them what's going on. Therefore, they're going to be more informed. And they're also at the point where they're transitioning out of high school into college, so they've got a lot of that going on too. So just a lot of things are going on for them. So they're just trying to hold on to what they can.
Awesome. What about our TLP tier 1, like our yellow lines and purple hiccups?
Okay, so we said that they usually are pretty much most knowledgeable other than CIT because they usually have phones by that age and are able to get on the internet and look things up. But also, since they're more aware of like what could be going on because they are older, they also like know more of like the chances of passing or like survival.
Yeah. Back group 10 to 12.
So we said that our 10 to 12-year-olds are a little more blunt about like things they know like what's going on, but they don't know full details. And so anytime you try to like not necessarily talk to them and like get it out of them, they will like redirect themselves naturally. But they have like a decent amount of knowledge of like what goes on. They like understand like, oh, they're sick and they have cancer. And then, like I said, they are pretty blunt about it. A lot of times they will just tell you straight up, like, yeah, they have this, they have that. They're very comfortable with talking about their parents' diagnosis.
Yeah, awesome. And what about our little babies?
So we said it's mostly just the scare, or like the immediate like death kind of like feeling, or it's the mommy and daddy are sick. Their vocab's kind of limited, so they don't really fully understand completely. And then they could, like, when they see their parents going through it, they either see a good amount of it or maybe just not even any of it, depending on how the parents are trying to deal with it.
Yeah.
So.
And a lot of them, like Tank said, they don't know what's going on. And a lot of parents struggle how to tell their kids these kind of things because they know they won't process it. So I know we have some campers who their parents said they've like tried telling them, but they still they haven't fully grasped what goes on. And also we have kiddos that are, there's like 6 different main groups of where they're at. So like they have a parent in remission. So that's another cancer term we hear a lot, but remission is when they're finished treatment. So they're in the process of recovering from that. They have a parent who is sick and who is receiving treatment. They have a parent who has passed away, or they have a grandparent or a step-parent with cancer, because we have a lot of kiddos who don't live with their biological parents. Both parents have cancer. That's another one. And then campers who have never met their parent with cancer as well. So there's a whole different wide spectrum of where they're coming from with that, which is important to keep in mind. And you guys already kind of touched on this as well, but we're going to do like a group brainstorm on how the kids are affected. So we're not going to do this as age groups. I want each group to think of like 3 or 4 different ways that affects the kids when the parent has cancer, and then we'll do a group brainstorm and come together. So how they're affected at that point, like what it does to them, side effects of it. So take a couple minutes and discuss that.
We're not doing age ranges this time?
No, just any type, because we'll sort them up here.
They get to miss out on things because their grandparents, maybe they can't play baseball because they have to, live with their mom or
And like, there's
Yeah,
no reason
exactly.
to already tell other mission, like, just remember, like, that was right.
Yeah.
So, like, it was, they're not really to that place.
Alright, so she's kind of like always with people bring their children.
I think one thing that's often,
Like never really
our kids talk about is just like trying to find someone to relate with. Just because
Yeah.
you might have good friends who sympathize with you, but it's still not the same as having someone who's going through a similar experience.
Yeah, or emotion.
I think going, because I expect this is all being really,
You almost see either.
but I think they're realizing too, and it's like my brother for everybody.
You have to tell me to do it. Very
A lot of our kids are spreading all these boys. Put up
It's really stressful after training. There's been a training for 6 hours because of what you can I just can't go.
I don't know how long it's like going on the world. We'll have to try and find like
They give me just like 12:30 to 6:30 after training.
That's all they don't.
Yeah, I think they all stem from that. Right. There is, I'm just saying.
I'm good, how are you?
I texted your real quick and told her I'll be
Yeah, go for it. Thanks.
Like super high, it's like
It's
almost like
like
camp coffee. Yeah. I think you can do carnal cat.
They do cards. Yeah, like there's one in
Alrighty, we ready to come back together? We totally are. We definitely are in this side conversation. So I just want to hear like 1 or 2 ideas from each group, and we'll kind of sort them out and talk about how we see it in our campers. So we'll start up here this time.
I feel like a main one, especially with kind of all the ages, is growing up way faster.
Very true. So we'll put that to the side because it's everyone. So they grow up faster. And that wasn't me. So like Ladybug said, that's common among all of our groups, but especially with the older ones, you will see 14, 15, and 16-year-olds You'll hear about them doing like parent duties around the house, helping raise the younger kids. Just being another, like stepping in that role because their parent with cancer, or if they have lost a parent, was not able to be there for them. What about that back group?
I think Sparky had one.
Oh, we have
Oh, yeah, so I was a counselor for the older guys last year, and a lot of them would throw on, a strong, tough face, and it kind of built up like this dam effect of like so much, anger, sadness, and then once it all finally came out, it just exploded out. So, we just wrote the dam effect, but I don't know what you want to call it.
What'd you call it? The dam effect.
Dam effect. Dam rope.
See, you started talking about like building up this wall, and I was gonna write build the wall or building a wall, and I was like, no.
That's okay.
That's it.
Okay, whale.
All right, what about you guys in the back?
One thing that we said, more so for like the middle and old, but it can really just make them feel like uncomfortable because it's hard to explain why you can't be at like the basketball game on Friday night. You gotta like be there for your parent.
Yeah.
And plus, like those age groups, like their peers aren't necessarily to a point where they can be like, oh yeah, I completely understand. That must be a really hard thing to go through. A lot of times, it's just a little more like, oh cool, like catch you next week. That's just like comfortable for them.
Yeah. And they feel like unknown too, like people don't understand. Do you guys have anything else to talk about or move on? Okay, maybe you guys in the back.
The little ones don't specifically know how to express it. It's not going to come out in the moments that you would expect, like at the end of the day during cabin chat. It's going to come out when you're playing kickball and there's just a kid crying in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
They just don't know how or where to express what they're going through.
For sure. And then group up in the front.
One of the things that we had said across the board is that finances might be kind of tough.
Yeah.
One of the things that like Waffle had said was that basketball game, like maybe it's not they have to be there for their parent, but they just can't afford to go. And that's something that's hard to explain to.
Or the parents have to not be able to come because they're not feeling well or something, so the kids have to not have their parent there.
Yeah.
And we were also saying that even if their parents are in remission, it's still something that like hangs over them because like they know the process of what already happened, and they're like, what if it happens again? Like,
If it comes
never-
back.
The unknown is like scary for them.
Yeah.
They're kind of always looking over their shoulder, waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Like a hovering cloud.
Yeah.
In their life. We'll just write that.
Also, go off what Whale said as far as the younger people not knowing how to express, they also don't pick up on social cues. That if other kids are uncomfortable with something, like they might press them without realizing.
Yeah.
I feel like that was something that kind of happened, like someone would talk about it, their parent, and then one of the other kids would just kind of like ask them a question that they didn't know wasn't appropriate.
Lego.
A lot of the kids that we have are very, not like emotional, but they are emotional, like they are emotionally stunted in a way. And so it's, you'll either see them like kind of regress and be like, if there's ever like an issue or something and they're upset, they'll either like regress and like throw a fit and won't talk, or they will be like the opposite, be like mature and like, it really kind of depends on like kid to kid, but typically you'll see that kind of like, that kind of hard split between the two. When things hit the fan.
Yeah, and another thing that's like, so going off of that, we'll get into cabin chat a little bit later, but I know especially I saw it with our middle girls last year. Just a very simple cabin chat question of, I don't even remember what it was, but the first kiddo to answer had said something that just set all the other ones off. And it was, they just, once one goes, it's a snowball effect where they're all just teary-eyed. They feel it. They feel that space where they're able to be vulnerable at camp. And so it's not something they had before. So that's their place to let everything out. So that's definitely another thing to look out for. So very good. That's an awesome list of kind of the effect that cancer can have on our kids. Nationals kind of breaks it down into like 4 or 5 main ones. That's going to bother me, so I'll clean up later. But another couple things, isolation from peers. So we talked on that. Camp is the place where people understand, but when they're at school, other people don't understand what they're going through at home or what it's like. low academic performance that can be because of their emotional state or because the older ones, when they're at home, they're not doing homework, they're taking care of their younger siblings. There's lots of different things that can affect that. Loss of social interest because they don't have people who understand, and it's just their emotional level just keeps going down. And like we talked about, taking on adult roles at home. So those are some of the main ones that you will see. So these are just some like cool facts about what KEsem does. So 80% of the counselors nationwide have been impacted by cancer. 98% of camper parents believe that KEsem had a positive impact on their family, but this is the big one. 89% of our campers return each year. So we had 52 last year, and I think 47 of them are coming back, which is just amazing to see those kids the parents who see the effect on their kids and want to give them that week. And then it's not just a thing throughout college either. You know, alumni who continue. You guys know some of our alumni who are still very actively involved. At Summit, we had the opportunity to hear some amazing alum stories of just how KEsem impacts them beyond their 4 years of college. And then this is super cool to just see how many campers we've served, starting back when we were little babies, and then going up to where we're at over 10,000, and next year we'll be at almost 12,000. So KEsem has a core set of values, which are all extremely important, but some of these I wanted to hit on. Our core values: we are optimistic about the work that we do. So obviously it gets tough sometimes. You don't want to sit through training. You don't want to, I have to take another day off work for this. But going down to this, we are grateful. It's not that, I talk about changing the mindset, not we have to go to training, but we get to go to training. We get to go better ourselves to be there for the campers, to meet them in the best way possible. We get to go have another fundraising day to hit our goals so that campers can have what they need and whatever that may be. We empower others is also extremely important, because this group of people in this room right here is going to get closer than you would imagine in the next 4 months, and it's going to be amazing. In the times that you forget that, this is where it's really important. When the stress is high, when the ball is really rolling, because it will be soon, you have to remember like what we're here for and the ultimate goal. Camp is going to happen. The kids are going to have the best week of their year again. So let's empower each other through that. We've talked a lot about improving DEI this year, being inclusive of everyone, no matter what that is. And then especially in this room, we talk about inspiring trust, but being honest. There's points, if you have criticism or if you have something you'd like to see different, don't be afraid to tell us. Make it constructive. There's things that need to be said. You need to be open and direct with us, and we will be open and direct with you, and those kinds of things too. It's just really important as a role of a counselor, as a coordinator, just part of this organization. We really, really value feedback. And then just having respect for others is the other thing. We all have very different backgrounds. We all don't know what someone else is going through at a certain time, so just be very respectful of that. Structure at camp. We don't really need to worry about this part of it. What we do need to worry about is this little thing right here. So there is a program director who is through nationals. They assign us one. We currently have one. Her name is Kitty. Some of you guys know her. We will be getting a new one within the next month. So Kitty won't be the one at camp. It'll be transitioning that will go well. We have high hopes about it. It's a brand new program director to KEsem, so stay up to date on that. So they are at the top. They will come to camp for like a day or two. Right under them are camp advisors. We will have 2 of them. They are selected and trained through nationals. Last year we had one from Arizona. Teddy was amazing. We all love here at this year. We will have 2 of them because of our going camp. And then camp advisors will work with nurses, admin, and MHP, who we'll go into a little bit. And then we have unit leaders. So there'll be 1 unit leader in each cabin. And then we'll have cabin counselors and program coordinators. So this is kind of like the chain of command. Like when you go to someone, counselors will go to unit leaders, and unit leaders are like the direct liaison between the admin team and the counselors. So we'll learn a lot more about that later. But there's the general structure of how everything works. Also, our camp advisors work with the hotline operator, which is another thing through nationals. We have 2 nurses. One of them is still, we're waiting to hear back. Minnie from last year is just getting that week off of clinicals. We love her. And then this is Big Mac's sister, who will be coming to camp. So we'll hopefully have 2 counselor sisters be nurses, which is super exciting. But the nurse at camp is part of our admin team, and they're in charge of all the medications for the kiddos, all the fake rolled ankles and band-aids that anybody needs during the week.
All the poison ivy on your hands.
Yeah, yep. So any medical situation, they're all RNs, have that license and everything. So, and just like everyone else, we never one-on-ones with that. Then we have a mental health professional. So like we talked about, all these kids get very emotional, things get really rough. This is Remy. A lot of you guys know her, but she's coming back and we're super excited. She is one of the most amazing people. So she's the one when you have concerns about a kiddo, or when someone needs to talk to someone at a level deeper than you feel comfortable with, or that you think they need more extensive help with. Backgrounds in social work and everything. Remy works with admin as well. So this will be her 4th time at camp, I believe. She's been with us the past couple years. And so she says nothing but great things about everyone she knows, and she's super excited to come back. This is just what is really important. The MHP is not a therapy provider or caregiver. We do not provide therapy to campers, their families, or counselors, but she's another source for them to talk to. So it's like during empowerment when things get really emotional, or a cabin chat when things like that happen. Or she's also there for us when the emotional drain hits day 4 of camp. Don't be afraid to use Remy as a resource too. Very, very important, because she is just amazing and there for everything. So that's Remy. Hotline operator, you guys don't really need to worry about, because the camp advisors work directly with them. And speaking of camp advisors, so their number 1 role is to keep camp safe, and they work with admin. So the 4 college students, MHP nurses, all of them, they provide mentorship and coaching to student leaders at camp. So they're there for everyone, just to make sure camp happens, and they work with all the incidents that happen at camp, or situation reports. Anything and everything, basically, is what they oversee. So the admin team, they oversee camp programming operations, and then work with the 2 camp advisors, nurse, MHP, all of that to make decisions on that. And then we work with like Bumblebee and the campsite staff of YMCA. For those of you who haven't been to camp before, YMCA camp still goes on while we're there. So there is a whole separate group of campers and counselors, and then Flat Rock provides the staff for like the lifeguards and the swing and all those things. They have separate staff for it. So and each cabin has a unit leader, so they oversee 10 to 12 campers, all of that. They're kind of like the liaison between us, or the admin, and counselors. So whenever you guys have questions as a counselor, you go to your unit leader, and we'll be working on getting placements and unit leaders and all that figured out in the next couple months. So just bear with us. And then cabin counselors. So those are the best thing ever. You stay with your cabin all week, go to all your rotations with them. You meet your best friends ever. Really important thing to keep in mind is ratio. You'll hear that all the time, but you must be at a 3-to-1 ratio. So you can't have more than 3 kiddos on your own. We try and keep more of a 1-to-2 ratio with our numbers. It's kind of hard. But then you can never be one-on-one with a camper. Anyone at camp can never be one-on-one with a camper. Super important. Also super important to keep ratio in check at all times. you'll just hear it shouted left and right. So, and then program counselor. So we have adventure, mystery, arts and crafts, and sports. So from each cabin, or not from each cabin, we'll have people who, instead of like traveling with their cabin to the different rotations, you have people who are in charge of each one. So working on those two. And the last thing we have today, or for this session, is the two special things that are like unique to Camp KEsem. So the first one is empowerment, and this is like the only time you really talk about cancer at camp. So everyone comes together and bring your tissues. So this is the opportunity for the campers to share their story if they'd like. Last year we did it. We were all in a huge circle, and we had Remy in the middle with a microphone. And if campers would like, they could come up to the middle and share their story. There's no one true way to be prepared for everything that happens at empowerment. Words don't really account for the emotions and feelings in that room. So we have special trainings, we have empowerment leaders, and different things we do to prepare. But that's also almost everyone's favorite part of camp itself. It's just empowerment. And the other thing is cabin chat. So this happens every night in your cabin. Right before you go to bed, you all go back, and they've all showered, and they don't stink anymore. It just smell like egg water from camp. But so cabin chat is meant to be structured as just like a time for you guys to just talk. There's questions set out, just to like talk and get close as a cabin. But it can also go every which way. We've all seen it all. So we're actually going to do like a little cabin chat with your little groups right now. But for example, you can have a question like, what's your favorite holiday? And a camper might be like, well, it used to be Christmas, but my mom passed away the day after Christmas last year. And then it just hits you like a rock. And so we have lots of trainings on cabin chat situations and how to prepare for them. But right now, we'll just have you guys become one big group on this side. But we're going to break up into, this time, you guys are the littles, you guys are the middles, and you guys are the older ones in the back. And I've got 3 different questions, so we'll just do one question. You guys get to share one thing that would make you happy. You guys get the 3 wishes, and you guys get the hardest part about having a parent with cancer. Yeah. So, no, that was the question last year that, like, it was Tuesday night of camp, and that's what, like, boom!
Yeah.
So that's why I put it on there. But also, you can have little ones who are, like, you could have little ones who take it the other way, and they make it a happy little conversation. Right now, we'll have, like, 2 counselors in each group, and then you guys have 1 counselor in the back. And then don't give it the easy answer, because that's not likely what the kiddos are going to give you. But we're going to have like a little cabin chat within your group. And so choose a counselor. You can choose a new one if you'd like. It's not easy, but it can be someone new. And we're going to have a little cabin chat for like 4 minutes.
Yeah, that's what somebody.
I mean, we can, yeah. Oh, I did. Let's get oh, yeah.
I'm serious.
It's not in the front.
So, most kids last year.
Okay, so
So we'll go around and everyone has a chance to tell us one thing that would make you happy.
Some of them were just like, oh, my mom died from here,
Me, Fox.
and then.
Make sure of that.
Bubbles. Are we doing like questions right now, or talking about like what the
We're doing like mock.
so,
Who are the counselors?
Well,
Make
like
me happy. Just prove them.
if I was a kid again, they always say I wish my parents was healthy. I wish my I think we had like two.
Just print media is my favorite. So
That's where we
yeah,
got.
so I wish I had more time for stuff.
Oh, I'm going. Okay, so my scenario was three wishes. So there's a lot of like around like I wish I had more wishes. I wish I had $1 million, and then I wish mom or dad would feel better. So those are like a lot of like things that they did.
You got a lot of.
What would make you happy if things would go back to
Mine was like I had really
So I'd probably say something
so like they were all kind of
like ask if they
we
want to
still
stay
think
more
around a
than
little bit,
not.
but
So I'm sorry that
seriously
we're
like
like
last wish.
hard working right now, like is there anything that we can do to make it better for you guys?
Just say it, do it.
And we took a drink.
And then you get hit with it's like,
When I was in August last year, I didn't want to school.
wow, that's really cool.
Say what
so all the way to the
Makes me happy. I would. My mom is still here. You like your dog?
Okay.
I would, but
I can't do it right now. I can put my foot in. Yeah, I'm talking 6 or 9. I was thinking, get your weight up.
I wish I was on med school.
Then the Dorito comment. Seriously.
I also.
Why am I like this? This dude just like this. That's
Well, like one person says something like
Talk about smart.
I've been like that for a minute.
So I was like saying something to Grace.
Like they said their minimum, and some of them like absolutely probably been more.
The wishes was
Yeah. Favorite stuff, like they would go to other conversations, which is good, so like.
We held him down. We held him down.
that just came from first year. We back in just the first year, like a jump.
Yeah, no. And I like that.
Not just this level of leadership is
Especially like with our names. Yeah. I was gonna say, last year.
Gender.
We accounted for like 6 hours. We didn't like, I mean, we'll have that much break. Well, that's when we're going to pick it up. Right after. Did everyone get a little taste of cabin check? That was just very brief.
I could talk about it forever. Most important thing is to like validate their feelings. Not just like move on, but validate their feelings so they know. And then, I don't know how well this is going to show. That's all we have. Hopefully you guys learned your, you guys got basic overview of what KEsem is, why we do what we do, kind of general structure of camp, and then what cancer is in general. To end on a good note, Tuesday we went and surprised BMT. A couple of us, me, Waffle, and Peaches, went to Fisher's. And here's the first video. So she's just sitting there with her mom.
Hey, BMT.
And then she went and saw Waffle and Peaches were on the other side. So I didn't really get a very good video of it. But just to see like happy campers again. She was so upset because her mom made her miss the basketball game. And her mom told her, she's like, listen, I've had these plans for 2 weeks. You're not going to that basketball game. And she was so upset. And then after the fact, she's like, okay, this is way better than a basketball game. And so, also, another fun fact, I beat Waffle in bowling. But that's it. So,
We said we weren't going to talk about it! Stop sucking. We have to talk about it.
and we didn't need bumpers. So, okay. 1 done.
5-minute break.
Yep. Take a break, stretch.